Hey, how's it going, survivors? It's Dev Ear. Just wanted to give you guys a little update video for the hotfix coming out soon. We're about halfway through the month of February. Patch went great, added lots of cool new features. Of course, there's always going to be a few bugs that slip past us and, of course, the beta testers. There's just too much to check. So, yeah, you guys got in there, you let us know. Thank you so much for the reports. That helps a ton. We were able to key in on a lot of the issues very fast thanks to all the data we were getting from y'all. So yeah, let's get right into it. The first thing, the biggest thing, to be honest, especially for all the new players out there, I know that a lot of new players have been coming in and thinking, oh, it's super hard to get stone and whatnot. Yeah, that was a bug that you're supposed to be able to find a bunch of little stones on the ground, not just on spawn points themselves. So what was happening was when we had the culling set up for everything and how everything culls at the fog wall to increase FPS, there's certain items that would just get culled at all times. So they were there, and if you stared at the floor long enough and ran around, you probably would have got the option here and there to pick up stones. But what was really happening is they were just getting culled out permanently and you couldn't find any of them. So we fixed that, went in there, so now tiny stones can be found all over the island again. I know some of you say it's super hard to find them still, but that's how it goes. You gotta survive out there. Another thing we touched on a little bit was the containers though. It was around 30%, I think. 30% chance of running up to a container and there being an item in there, which means out of every 10 containers, 7 of them are empty, and I didn't really like that number too much, so it should be up a little bit more, probably around like 50 or 60% of the time you're finding something in the container rather than just making your way all the way up to where you know a container is and there's nothing there. So that'll help a lot more loot to go around because there's tons of containers everywhere. Yeah, and we also added a new method to get pipes and nails. A lot of survivors, I mean, the pipe has always been an issue where it only spawns, and that was kind of done on purpose, but enough of you have spoken up about it where we decided to make an interesting alternative way to get pipes. It's actually going to be, I'll be surprised who finds it first. It's a bit of a weird one, but if you're a tentative observational person, you'll find it. I left some clues and some item descriptions. That's as much as I'm gonna say. So yeah, good luck finding some pipes and nails. It's the same way as before. It's just there's a different craftable item that you would need in order to make the nails at the crafting table. And yeah, also many other crafting values were adjusted, things that didn't make sense. Some of them are from so long ago, like where we were setting up these crafting tables, and just a lot of stuff has changed since then, and the economy has changed and the value of certain items have changed, so just had to go back through and kind of fluff it up, make it look nice, make it make sense, and worth it to craft certain items. While doing that, I also just went through the trader quests also and fixed up some of them it would just give you nothing if you completed it, so I'm surprised we didn't really get any reports on that. I had to go dig and find it myself. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I'm surprised no one was mad that they didn't get anything from their trader. So, but it's whatever. That's how it goes. Next up is consumables like food and water and berries or health drinks that you can find around the island. All the settings have been tweaked for those, so certain foods most foods actually will give you radiation now. We want to make radiation more of a factor in the game. We have the makeshift rad pills you could craft, and we have future plans to do a lot with the radiation aspect of the game, so this is kind of the first little introduction to making radiation a bigger factor. You have to now cook meat. Now that animals are spawning and meat's running around out there and you're able to go hunting and get that meat, you could cook the meat and then that would be a food source that isn't radiated, a cooked meat. So we're gonna slowly cruise more into that feeling of you having to go out there and like survive. Like you can't just sit in there eating 20 berries. Now if you eat 20 berries, you're gonna have full rads. So you can't just rely on berries all day. They've been sitting out in the radiation. So there's a lot of other settings that were tweaked also. You see when you eat how different it could be, but that's what we got for now. We also went through and fixed the build part issue that was forcing players to crouch through their stone and metal doors. It didn't happen with the wood doors for some reason. Well, what actually happened is it wasn't even the doors. It actually had everything to do with the floor that was underneath the door. So if you notice on the first floor, you'll never have this issue. First floor, you'll always be able to walk through your door, no problem. As soon as you're on the second floor though, that's when it starts getting a little weird to walk through doors, because the stone upgrade to the floor and the metal upgrade to the floor was too high, so it would just push you into the top of the door unless you crouched underneath it. So that was an easy fix. That's good to go now. There should be no more doors that you have to crouch through all the time. That, I don't know how that issue keeps popping back up, but it does, and so it should be officially squashed. We've also changed how survivors adjust the height of foundations. What we had done is create little grid snapping locations. It was in the dev vlog, a showcase of it in the back end, but yeah, there's 2 grid snapping locations, one above and one below the normal grid snapping point. So you would have to look at one of those 3 grids, and it just felt janky. Like if you would have to like look way into the floor just to get it level. We didn't really like that. We just yanked it out, put in the option to use your Q and E keys like normal, like how you normally raise or lower foundations, but now you could do it while placing the initial foundation and snapping it to another one. So you could Q and E it up and down, very easy. Should be much more comfortable to do your custom based designs and whatnot. There's also a suggestion that quest items are it's a little hard to understand that quest items are for quests, especially if you're a new player. Some new players, they don't even really care about quests. They're just exploring and looting and killing, and that's all they want to do. They don't care about quests at all. They find these items, they don't really know what to do with them. So now when you pick up the item, it will go into your quest slot, and it will also, if you hover over them, it will be called in the tooltip a quest item. So it'll be very obvious which items are made specifically for quests and aren't useful in other places. There was also an issue with the anti-rad shower. This is a weird one. It was just, I don't know how it wasn't way more broken than what we saw, but it wasn't even hooked up in the back end in the correct way whatsoever. So it's a miracle that you were still able to place it and go into it and get rads taken off of you, but it wouldn't show up blue if you're holding it in your own territory. It would disappear when you restarted your game save, because it just like technically wasn't even really there. It was a strange one, but either way, it should be good to go now. There shouldn't be any more issues with the rad shower, hopefully. This has been a tough one, but it should be good to go. So yeah, that's about it for the hotfix. It's a good little quick one to help with some quality of life stuff to hold us off until that next update coming up in March. So yeah, thank you to all the beta testers and everyone else for the support. It's been awesome. We're gonna keep it going. Good luck out there, survivors.